Good morning. It is Sunday, May the 1st, and Sarah and I escaped bad weather on the west side and came over to the east side of Washington to try something new. We're in Frenchman Coulee, and we're about to go explore some of these basaltic lava flows in Washington Coulee country. Pretty excited. It's going to be a quick little short day hike we got planned. But you never know what could happen or what you're going to see. Here we go. Just under the surface here, there's this light gray layer. And I'm almost willing to put money on it. This is Mount St. Helens ash. It's very fine. Very fine. Almost like it turns into a very fine powder. You can see how it just crumbles up. Light gray. Don't know what eruption that was, but very cool. Lots of sage, lots of sand, basalt columns. Sun's off there to the east. It's kind of not having the best lighting on the flows. We're aiming for that sand dune right there. Go up to that notch in the cliff there. Hopefully that'll lead up on top of the mesas. Lots of birds chirping today. I'm loving it. Springtime's pretty awesome over here. We've worked our way up onto this nice sand dune. Found some cloven ungulate tracks mixed in with a lot of human footprints. There's been some coyotes up in here. I wonder if there's any rattlesnakes. Probably up there in the rocks. There's Sarah making her way up. Sand is really soft, really cold. One step up, and 2 steps down. We just came up this hog's back feature, kind of similar to what's on Mount Hood, but made of sand. A little harder, but not as stressful at the top. And it puts us kind of in this hanging canyon or coulee. Very beautiful columns up in this area. Don't know which way we're going to go from here. Lots of options. Definitely warm, and arid, and dry. We are up on the pretty much rim of the coulee. We're starting to traverse it and make our way out to the edge there. This region is famous for its Columbia River flood basalts. That's the solid rock we are walking on, 100% of it over here, pretty much. You can see those beautiful columns over here that are a mecca for rock climbers. This used to be liquid, red-hot, flowing lava that erupted from fissures close to the Idaho, Washington, Oregon border and ran all the way over here and slopped up against the Cascades when they were much younger. 17 million years ago was when the first one started erupting. And in some places over here, it is close to 2 miles thick of lava flows stacked up like a giant cake. What we're looking at here is you can see the columns, and then this layer here, that's called the entablature, and then there's more columns underneath. That is one flow of lava right there. That's one continuous flow. And so that means there's just a lot of them underneath. We only see exposed maybe 3 or 4 of the most recent, only because of the glacial ice age floods that drained Lake Missoula much earlier than these lava flows covered the landscape. This is one of the head walls of the Frenchman Coulee, and that's one of the giant plunge pools. Roughly 10 to 15,000 years ago, glacial Lake Missoula drained several times over a period of time, and all that water drained across eastern Washington. And the basalts from the Columbia River flood basalts, because of the columns, made it very easy for plucking, for the abrasive forces of water that was coming over this in a torrent. Picked away and plucked away and carried away all the columns of basalt and deposited them further down the valley, down the coulee here, and carved this coulee right up to this point. A coulee is different from a canyon in that it has a flat bottom. It's similar to a canyon, but because of the flat stacked lava flows and the force of water going over the top of it, plucking away the columns one layer at a time, and it has these flat floors. Are very signature of the topography in a lot of the area over here in eastern Washington. And don't think of it as like a beautiful cascading waterfall that came over. There was so much water it would have been just a bump in the surface as it continued down to the Columbia and down to Wallula Gap, forming lakes in some places. Here's a closer look at that plunge pool on this flat-bottomed coulee. These happen much quicker than like regular canyon features. I would say like Hell's Canyon or the Grand Canyon, which happen and form over longer periods of time. This was a quick event, or a series of quick events. It ripped apart all this basalt into these channels. This is looking at what is referred to as channeled scablands. And they are channeled. This is the path of the floods, plucking away the basalt columns. And then here's the plunge that the water would have taken over the wall of the coulee. And I'm safe to say I'm probably right at the head of the coulee right now, and you can see how it's just a straight, flat bottom channel with vertical walls on either side. The Columbia River's down there over the side, and it flows south through Sentinel Gap and then down to Tri-Cities. Pretty fantastic. We're in this tiny channel and we found water. I'm going to fill up our water bottles. Take a quick break. It's not even 11 yet, and we've found the only water source so far on the trip. There's a nice little series of ponds up here in this channel, and it's approaching 60 degrees. It's supposed to be 70 degrees in a couple hours here. Sarah just got a pretty accurate weather report of next week's weather, what it's going to look like here, and there's just going to be a lot of rain. 90 to 100% forecasted next weekend. So I'm going to use this moment to talk about the rain shadow effect and why it's sometimes better to come over here when you get the nasty weather on the west side. You usually get drier, windier climates over here. That's why we chose to come over here this weekend. We may choose to come back next weekend as well. There's lots of channeled scablands to explore. Those basaltic columns look like rippled French fries. So I guess that's the food analogy for them. Earlier today we were on top of that knob, and we just walked pretty much the rim of that wall of the coulee. We're starting to go down the other side now. Those hills over there are Frenchman hills, and that's a part of the Yakima fold thrust system. Creates a bunch of east-west hills in eastern Washington. Look at all the rock climbers.